Each year in the United States, thousands of major crimes go unsolved. When the case has gone cold and police have nowhere to turn, they seek assistance from the public. This is a program dedicated to solving these cases. This is Crime Stoppers Case Files.
Welcome and thank you for joining us for the Northeast Ohio edition of Crime Stoppers Case Files. There are over 1,400 Crime Stoppers organizations operating around the world. These organizations empower citizens like you to become directly and anonymously involved in fighting crime in our communities. Each week on this television program, we'll share facts with you from unsolved cases, and you'll have the opportunity to submit information that may help investigators and earn a cash reward for doing so without ever giving your name. On December 13, 2008, just after dusk, 30-year-old John Lundy Jr. was driving on St. Clair Avenue near East 141st Street in Cleveland when he was ambushed by multiple gunmen, some of them brandishing automatic weapons. Here's the story.
He was such a beautiful child. I would sing to him all the time. John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. And he'd always like when you get louder at the end. He was a good baby. Just a blessing.
As he got older, he loved the football. And he was very funny, he was very comical.
He was my little brother. He was like 3 years younger than me. It was only me and Man. We call him Man. And he was so spoiled. My mother used to give him everything he wanted. He used to always cry. She used to always give him everything he wanted, and my father did too. He loved the kids. He used to always come and get my two youngest boys and take them places. His job picnics everywhere. Wherever he came to get him, he took him somewhere. I don't care if it was go get a haircut. He took him to go get a haircut. He worked at Hose Masters. He was a groundkeeper. He worked himself up. And they loved him at his job. He helped other people with their jobs. He stayed over. He went in on Saturdays, Sundays. He was a helpful person, a real hard worker.
He was the life of the party. He was a loving person. So we miss him.
Cleveland Police, dispatch.
Ma'am, two men with an AK-47 just shot a car up on St. Clair and Coit, and the man is leaped over in his truck in the middle of the street.
Which way did they go?
They ran up Coit, going up towards Euclid.
You can't give me any information on them, what they were wearing, anything?
Black. They was wearing blue jeans, black hooded sweatshirts. They had black bandanas around their face.
Okay. Let me get somebody going. Thank you. Thank you.
On December 13, 2008, we received a call for two males shot. One male expired on scene at East 141st or Coit Avenue in St. Clair. It happened 6:49 p.m. Our victim, John Lundy, is a 30-year-old African-American male, lived in Cleveland his whole life. His nickname on the street was Man. Earlier that evening, John Lundy dropped off his vehicle at a local garage to have a headlight put into it. He returned 1 hour later. While the victim was pulling out of the parking lot, we know there was a few gunmen hiding out across the street on the south side. And as he was driving the vehicle westbound on St. Clair, they charged after him on foot. The one with the AK-47 was running right in the middle of St. Clair Avenue, and the second gunman was running down the sidewalk firing a small handgun. As the victim was being shot at and driving westbound on St. Clair Avenue, he was shot through the vehicle, killed him pretty much instantly. He put his foot on the brake as that happened. The gunman then fled towards Coit Road, where we have reason to believe that somebody picked him up in an auto.
And as I was going to my family, I seen my brother laying in his truck with a bullet in his head. And they said he was already dead.
On December 13, 2008, John Lundy was murdered while driving his vehicle on St. Clair Avenue. As you see on the surveillance video, he pulls out of the parking lot. At the moment he starts to drive westbound, you'll observe two of the gunmen chasing after the vehicle, one right down the middle of St. Clair, one on the sidewalk, firing into the victim's vehicle. The victim was shot and killed as he approached Coit Avenue. EMS did respond to the scene, and they determined that the victim had died in the vehicle. We did have a second victim who was an innocent bystander, who was a local businessman that was grazed by a bullet that was treated on scene, and he was okay.
We cry every day. We miss him so much, you know, because it's been going on so long and we have no closure on this. He got a daughter and a son that he'll never get to see grow up, graduate, go to college, none of that. I know they got this code in the street about snitch and don't snitch, but if it was your family member, you would want somebody to say something, to tell.
It's not snitching, it's helping us. It's helping this family to gain closure, to fill a void. The not knowing is the worst of all. And we just want to know, please help us, please give us closure.
Judging by the evidence we collected on scene, we know that there was at least one more gunman that played part of this. On scene, we recovered numerous casings. The major gun in the roll was an AK-47 round. We also recovered 9mm M40 caliber. In this audio that you're listening to, you will hear the multiple gunshots that were being fired by at least 3 weapons. The rounds were so numerous, it almost sounds like a video game. Keep in mind there was numerous people outside. Suspects' descriptions, we have 3 to 5 shooters. The shooter carrying the AK-47 was probably over 6 foot tall. They were all African-American males wearing dark clothing, and they had masks on covering their face. At the moment that this occurred, 2 vehicles were driving eastbound on St. Clair, one in the parking lot, one in the street, and they actually stopped as the gunman ran by them. We'd like to talk to the people in the vehicle because we know they have a good angle of seeing what happened as it occurred. A few minutes prior to the homicide, you will see a male walking down St. Clair Avenue, nodding his head over in the direction of where John Lundy was driving out of the parking lot. We're very curious on his action of why he did that, or if anybody knows the identity of this male, we would like you to give us a call and give us his name. Due to the severity of this crime and that there was multiple pedestrians in the area, and these gunmen committed such a horrific act and fired numerous rounds with disregard to anybody else's safety.
We want the people who did this to my nephew to be off the street, to pay the price that they owe. That's all we ask.
Police believe there may have been up to 5 shooters. The 2 seen in this video are described as tall, slender, black males wearing dark clothing with masks hiding their faces. Police would also like to speak with the drivers of these cars and with the young man who walked past the scene minutes before the shooting. Kyle Davis was a Bedford High School graduate whose dream was to head to college and study aviation. But the 20-year-old's dreams came to an end on February 11, 2007, when he was murdered and his body dumped on a Garden View Drive tree lawn in Maple Heights. Here's the story.
Hi, Mom.
Whoa!
Hi, Dad. Just like
Kyle was always a rambunctious kid.
Kyle was a small baby. He used to get up out of his bed and leave the house. He'd walking up the street, you know, with a diaper.
When he was 2, he could ride a bike, a 2-wheel bike.
I just put him on it, he just went. He also rode that same bike down the stairs and knocked out 2 of his teeth.
We was in daycare, building blocks, and we used to always play with Ninja Turtles, you know, and he used to always be the one that whatever we wasn't supposed to do, you know, he'd be, you know, like Curious George, you know, he always trying to get in the sun with like a daredevil, you know, like we'd go into the woods and he'd try to find the biggest cliff to jump off with his bike, you know, he was just an adventurous person.
He was the youngest. There was a 7-year gap between he and his brother.
We just laughed a lot. I just remember us laughing all the time. I mean, Sunday dinners were just hysterical.
He was a goofy guy, always had a joke, you know, lit up the room when he came in, always had a joke for son, even if it wasn't, you know, appropriate time for it.
My daughter came down with leukemia, and it was very difficult for us, and he was the person who kept us laughing all the time.
He was very popular in school. There was this talent show that he hosted for his school, and he came onto the stage, And they introduced themselves, you know, how my name is, and because they called them Dubs. And Cal just says, you know, and the whole crowd just, I mean, I had no idea how popular he was in school. I had no idea.
In our house, you know, graduation wasn't an option. It was something that you knew you had to do. It was something he, you know, was so proud of. He was president of the orchestra. He played the viola.
He was a big influence on my life. I mean, me growing up, I really wasn't focused on school and focus on the things that I need to focus on. And I mean, we would always have talks, and he would let me know, you know what I'm saying, Darrell, you need to get on track with your life and stop worrying about these girls and just do your work. So if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't even be where I'm at today.
He was very proud when he got his music scholarship and went to Akron U. He loved music. He loved airplanes. He could tell you all the models, what era they were from. It was one of his dreams to fly.
He got along with everybody. As far as I knew, he did not have an enemy in the world.
He was just that type of guy, just happy to live life, fun dude. Everybody liked him. I didn't know nobody who didn't like him, you know. He wasn't the type of guy that was hard to get along with.
Everybody knew Kyle. Everybody loved Kyle.
911, what is your emergency?
Hi, it's a guy laying in the middle of the street on Garden View and Maple Heights. He just laying out, I don't know if he's dead or what. He's face down in the snow.
He's in the middle of the street in the snow?
He's like on a curb with his face down in the snow.
Okay, right at Northfield?
Yeah.
Okay, hold the line, don't hang up, okay?
Okay.
February 11, 2007, Kyle Davis had left his home in Bedford Heights. He was traveling to Maple Heights to pick up his niece and nephew, who were going to return with him to his house in Bedford Heights and spend the evening.
I told him, I said, well, it's getting a little late. You need to go on and get him. And he left, and he didn't come back.
Kyle never arrived at his niece and nephew's house. At approximately 7:40 p.m. that evening, the Maple Heights Police Department received a telephone call of an unresponsive male laying on the tree lawn in Garden View Road. Police responded and determined that that male was Kyle Davis and that he was deceased.
You know, we don't really know where he was shot. We don't really know a lot of the details about it, but we do know that Kyle very rarely rode alone. Kyle was in a really bad accident the October before he was murdered. He shattered his fibula, he broke his neck. I mean, he had just gotten his neck brace off like a couple of weeks before. And just in case he needed help, he would always, you know, have a friend in the car, you know, just in case he needed assistance. Whoever shot my brother was either in the car or around the car. They shot him 3 times in the head and they dragged him out of the car and just kind of just dumped him on somebody's tree lawn, somebody's front lawn.
The witness who discovered the body reported that she observed a white vehicle traveling at a high rate of speed the opposite direction of Kyle's body. About 20 minutes after the discovery of Kyle's body, the Maple Heights Police Department received a telephone call of a vehicle on fire in a driveway approximately 5 or 6 blocks away from the scene. And it was later learned that the vehicle was doused in gasoline and intentionally set on fire in a random driveway on another residential street in Maple Heights.
When they told my husband, I heard this deep moan. I knew something was really wrong. And then when I came downstairs and they told me that he had been shot, what I remember is that I was screaming. I was screaming to the top of my lungs, and I couldn't stop myself. And it's like I couldn't hear myself scream, but the scream was there. I don't know what else to say to anybody to make you understand the depth of our pain, the depth of what happened.
Somebody saw fit to shoot my brother 3 times in his head and dump him out of his car like he was a piece of trash. Now, I don't know about you people here, but something just don't ring right about this populated street and nobody's saying anything.
They're scared.
Mm-hmm. February 11th, Kyle was actually on his way to pick up my niece and nephew. Not maybe 30 to 45 minutes after that, there was a cop at my parents' door telling them that somebody had murdered my brother.
Kyle's family says he was very particular about whom he allowed into his car. In other words, they believe he may have known his killer.
Approximately 20 minutes after the discovery of Kyle's body, we learned that his car was intentionally set on fire 5 or 6 blocks away from where the body was found. There was no witnesses to either the killing or to the fire that was set that evening.
Kyle had decided that even though he had music scholarship, he really wanted to do aviation. And he had applied to Spartan Aeronautical School. And that Tuesday, after his murder, the school called to tell us that he had been accepted and to tell us that they wanted to fly us down to tour the college. And I had to tell her, please stop. Kyle had been murdered. And you would have thought the lady really knew Kyle, because she said, I had spoken to him, interviewed him over the phone several times, and I was just looking so forward to meeting your son. You know, I wanted to see the face behind his voice.
You invest a lot of time in your kids, and to have them just go by the wayside like this, it's not right.
I mean, one minute we were a solid family, and the next minute the foundation was gone.
But I would hope that whoever did this to my brother would just know that I think there's a piece of everyone, not just in our family, but all of his friends that's buried down in that grave with him.
And I just look at life different now. I just looked at it as, you know, we was all gonna grow old together and reminisce, but you never know when it's your time. One day you're here and the next day you're gone.
It was just a wake-up call. And I mean, it was just so unbelievable to believe that this guy that I talked to every day, it was like one of my brothers just gone.
Whoever did this, they're not worthy to be among us, and it can happen to you. Don't think it can't happen to you. I know that there's this creed of no snitching, but it's not like tattletelling. It's about people's lives. It's about what it does to families, to friends, to communities. The devastation has to stop. It doesn't make you safer because you don't tell. Actually, it puts you more at risk, because whoever did this will do it again. Help us to help you so that maybe another mother, father, sister, brother would be spared this pain.
A 20-year-old murdered on his way to pick up his niece and nephew. There's nothing stopping a person who is capable of murder, who thinks he got away with it, from doing it again. That's why we need to stop it. Thank you for joining us for Crime Stoppers Case Files, where you are empowered to help clean up the streets. Remember, our towns and our neighborhoods are a direct reflection of what we allow them to be. So let's all do our part to make them safe. We'll see you next week for another edition of Crime Stoppers Case Files.